In this module, I want us to consider conducting research, part 1, things to look out for. Now, in this module, in this course, right, up till this point, we've been exploring, so many different concepts, learning how to use apps, some apps that we will be using as time goes on, subsequently when we've started to research and when we're ready to trade, when we're ready to invest on our own and all of that, right? So everything that we have been learning was to bring us to this point, right? So that we will seamlessly go on to be able to do it on our own. Because we wouldn't be taking a course if we didn't, you know, want the knowledge for ourselves for the long term, right? So everything that we have covered was to bring us to this point and to enable us have a seamless transition to doing it on our own. So this video is to help you know exactly what to look for. This list is not exhaustive, right? There are other things you could want to look out for, but I want you to leave that to uh your own personal opinion, your own convictions, right? Because sometimes you might make an investment that you're not even entirely sure why, but it turns out to be good, right? And that's your gut speaking. And well, personally, I call it the Holy Spirit, but then not everybody's religious as I am. And not everybody practices my religion. So the general term that most people like to call it is gut, right? Your gut feeling. So like I was saying, um there are this list, right? This list is not exhaustive. There are some other things that you might want to consider, but these are things that I believe you should be looking out for whenever you want to conduct research, right? So the first one is market cap. And if you remember when I was um doing the market cap video, right, I kind of said reiterated, right? I kind of said it a couple of times that you should really be heavy on market cap. Okay. So it has to be low to mid cap, mid market cap, right? And the reason you don't want to be investing in large market cap projects is that you will make profit if the project goes on to um get more successful, make more money, right? But it would be much lower than if you had invested in a low market cap project or in a mid market cap project, right? So if we take um stocks for example, and I like to use stocks, right? Let's say you're investing in Microsoft stock. Microsoft stock is well, either the one with the biggest market cap or like the second, because I know the last time I checked the chart, it was around first. It was either first or second, right? So, and the market cap was like 2 or so trillion. It was really really big, right? So, um all right, let me confirm that value real quick. All right, so I just did short a quick search, right? And the market cap is 3.4 trillion, right? Now, from there to 30 trillion is 10x, right? It's not impossible, but it would have been much easier to buy a stock that would move from let's say 1 billion, right, to 10 billion, like 1 billion market cap to 10 billion market cap. Okay. So like I said, it's not impossible, but it's much, much, much harder the higher up you go. So that's why you need to. I feel like I've said too much um regarding market cap. So let's move forward. First mover. So you want to ideally, right? Ideally, you want to, and if you notice, I put this bracket, not always possible, right? So you want to be invested in a project that is the first in its industry, right? So Facebook was the first social network. Or at least most people agree that it was the first social network, and investors in Facebook have been much more profitable than investors in other social networks that came afterwards. Now it doesn't mean that other ones that came afterwards did not make money, right? TikTok, Instagram, all the others, their founders still made or make money, right? And they are investors too. But because Facebook was the first mover, because Facebook was the first to do it, they were able to, take up much more market share, which unavoidably led to them making much more money, right? Then relatively undiscovered, you want to be invested in something that not a lot of people know, right? So I listened to something someone said that Warren Buffett said. Now I'm not sure if Warren Buffett said it actually. Like I don't have the should I say exact facts, the hard fact that he actually said it, but it was something around that if you hear, let's say, a shoe shiner, right? Someone who cleans shoes. And I think they're referring to, a black person, right? Or let's say a poor person, right? And while it is true that black people are among the poorest in America, using the word black would make it sound racist, right? So let's stick with poor, right? So poor, a poor person that is shining shoes, like once you hear the name of a stock, and that was what the saying, how the saying went. Once you hear the name of a stock from a mouth of someone like that, then it's time to sell, right? The idea is that once it becomes common knowledge, it is no longer as profitable, right? Then next one is solid use case that you understand. Now it's awesome that a project has a use case, but if you don't understand it, you wouldn't be as confident in your investment, right? And you want to have that confidence in your investment because there are going to be ups and downs in the market. There are going to be bear seasons. If you invest in one project for, let's say, if you're for like 15 years, you invested in one project for like 15-20 years, in that time there will be a lot of market fluctuation, right? Sometimes the price will even dip lower than the price you entered, right? So you need that confidence that I understand what these people are trying to do. I have my convictions, right? I have done my research. Even if you don't have your convictions, you have done your research, right? So it has to be something that you understand totally. And this will mean that you have to, read about cryptocurrency concepts in total. Like read about different, technologies, zero knowledge proofs, ZKPs, um, HME, or FHE rather, as fully homomorphic encryption. Um, the whole lot, like all of the different applications of blockchain technology. You have to read about them and understand them properly. So if a project says, okay, they are basing on um there's also DPIN, right? Decentralized physical infrastructure network, right? That's when physical objects like a smartphone, like a router, all of those things, when they can communicate with each other using the blockchain. All of those things, right? So basically, you want to be invested in something that is solid on the one hand, and then on the other hand, it should be something that you understand fully well. Then team, this is straightforward, visible, not hidden. So you want to interact with a or invest in a project whose team is known, right? If they are hiding other aliases, or they seem to not want to reveal their identities, it's usually a red flag. Not always, but usually, and you want to be safe, right? Then community, I was referring to the size, right? When I said use own discretion, I was referring to the size, right? I wanted to put a value, but then I thought about it. What is large to me might not be large to you, right? So you want to be in a community that is either that is relatively large, basically. I don't want to um blot out any figure. So whatever is relatively large to you is fine, right? Um so yeah, it should be medium, moderately to very moderately large, from moderate to very large. So sorry for all the grammatical blunders. So you get the point. Then audits. The project should be audited, um, preferably by a third party, right? And the reason you want an audit is that third parties will um, really go into the project code without bias, right? And it will find, irregularities. It will find, those subtle, um, let's say, either coding errors or bugs that were intentionally put to, try to find, what's the word, a backdoor into the code and then change something, all those kind of things. So basically, and auditors are usually more technologically advanced than the average investor. So they know they know blockchain code better than you do, right? So you want to invest in projects that have done an audit. Then liquidity, you want to invest in a project that has um medium to high liquidity, right? You don't want to invest in a project that has low liquidity because you cannot buy, you cannot sell, right? When liquidity is too low. Or let me say you cannot buy or sell easily, right? When liquidity is low. Then you have tokenomics. I've done a module on tokenomics, but I put it here so you are reminded. And then I want to hammer on supply, right? So you want to look at the supply, you want to look at whether it is deflationary, inflationary, or fixed, right? So tokenomics. Then marketing, you have to invest in a project that is what's the word, that is passionate about marketing. And when I say passionate, I mean they know that their project is good and they are doing everything possible to get it into the hands of their desired customer, right? So if a project seems to be very silent, not trying to market enough, not tooting their horn enough, you don't want to be there, right? Because if a project is not getting used, if a project is not getting to its customers, eventually it will become unprofitable, right? And you could lose your investment. Then marketplaces stroke exchanges. This is for projects that have been around for a reasonable amount of time. Let's say by the time you found this, they're already like 3, 4, 5 years old. 3 years is a long time in the crypto industry. So they need to be on prominent exchanges, multiple exchanges. People need to be buying and selling them multiple times within a day, right? So they need to be on big and numerous exchanges. Then projects should support current and future trends. Now, this is I think I should have put an asterisk here, but let me just explain a bit. This is subjective, right? Because no one can really tell the future. But at the same time, you should try to picture where the project will be in a few years. Is it possible that there's a technology that will come and kick them out of the market completely? Will they be able to adjust to coming trends? Because technology is very moves very quickly, right? So um you want to be you want to be invested in a project that can stand the test of time, basically. So they should be able to be fluid, or that's fluid to, adapt to future trends, or they should be solid enough to be, reliable despite that. A good example is Coca-Cola, right? So Coca-Cola has survived, you know, multiple wars and all of that, right? So yeah, moving on. Daily volume, yes, I put this value here intentionally. So daily volume should be at least $100,000. And daily volume is just the amount of, the token that is traded that day, in a particular day, particular 24-hour day, in US dollars. So it shouldn't be less than $100K. If it's less, you should, have like really, really, really good conviction before investing, because low low volume means not a lot of people are looking into it. Now that could be good, but it could also be bad. 100K is a good starting point. So yeah, and then can be adopted by a wider market. So this um project you want to invest in, can it support, a an influx of new users? Is it built to support, um is it built to grow as more users come in, right? So you want to, look at all of that too. Can and then can other people be appealed to that project? Would other people interested in investing be, would it be appealing to them, right? Would it be attractive to them? So those are all of the things you want to check. So quickly, let me go back and then run through all of that from the top. So I said market cap, low to mid, first mover, right? But then I put in bracket, not always possible. Then relatively undiscovered, solid use case that you understand. Team should be visible, not hidden. Community, use your own discretion. Decide with your own personal experience or whatever you think is useful as a metric, right? And then use that to gauge how large or small a community is. Then audit, liquidity. Liquidity should be, reasonably high. Then tokenomics, marketing, marketplaces to exchanges. I said the more exchanges, the better. Projects should support current and future trends. That's self-explanatory. Daily volume, $100K or more, and then can be adopted by a wider market. With that, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next section.